ambiguity. Let's just put it that way. There's a kind of ambiguity. It's not, that place is not clear. If you say soil pollution also affects animal feeding habits, maybe we should have said as, or when, or if, or as they might have ingested, okay, or due to their ingestion of poison, because via seems to be a bit awkward in its function there. So when, okay, if they are, what was it that I said? Forgot it. Now, soil pollution also affects animal feeding habits, having ingested or with them ingesting poisonous plants which serve as animal feed. So there we have which, okay, and it's okay. This can result in retarded growth. Retarded growth is also good. This can result. Now, the word can result here is very, very instructive because you are not generalizing. IELTS aids over generalization. So this can result in, so can is barring the idea of overgeneralizing. That means it's likely to result, it's probably going to result. Okay. It's likely to result, which in turn leads to, so we have result in coercive device, which relative clause beginning leads to is result, showing coercive device. Poor means quality. Poor means quality is good, and at times herbivores that feed on these toxic grasses die from acute poisoning. Are you saying here, we just talked about the fact that can has barred every element of generalization. Then you came here also to generalize to say herbivores that feed. Not all herbivores that feed on this toxic grass die. So you are meant to bring in an element of probability here so that we don't have an absolute situation or an overgeneralized situation. The feed on this die of acute poisoning with grave consequences on gross food security. Okay, with grave. So now, if you want to use serious or very great, so you have instead of saying serious, you have grave consequences, which is good. Okay, on the gross food security, the solution for this is a well-orchestrated risk management system to reduce environmental pollution, straight to the point, without any issue. All right. So moving on from there, we go to this one also. Second, now again, this sentence is, this paragraph is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And here your second paragraph, the paragraph becomes smaller by progression. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And when we have 12 there, we have 8 here. And again, the third one becomes very, very terrible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, Mr. Michael, I'm expecting full essay by the next time you are submitting your assignment. Please take note of this. And I want to commend your standard expression, okay, and your writing, but make sure that your essay fulfill every requirement of the question. Make it almost the same, or if not the same, make it almost the same, and then in length, that is, then write your essay, your conclusion. So I hope you understand that. So we'll go to the next one, Mr. John. I'll be taking Mr. John's work. I want to use this to encourage you because I'm sure you have been having terrible network problems from your end, and have not also been very good as to making sure that your work returns to you as a listen. And this is the reason, Because look at this. If you look at this scanning quality, all right, compare it with, let me see. Okay, that's still your work. Let's see. Compare it to this. Look at those two. Look at it. Mr. John, I need you to unmute your microphone so that I know you understand what I'm saying. Or if your microphone, if network will not allow us to hear ourselves, I'd like you to respond via chat. And the network has struck again. I think the network already sent him out of the class. Okay, but we'll still review his work nonetheless. So now let's see. It says, now, okay, Mr. Michael, please, I'd like also to see your outline. I must also always see your outline, whatever you're doing. Let me always see your outline in whatever question that you are responding to. Always see your outline clearly so I know what I'm marking you against. So let's see. Okay, reasons for this your outline are too ambiguous. They are not direct. They seem to be too ambiguous. I just hope it comes back online. They seem to be too ambiguous. Okay, it's recorded. You can see it later. So too ambiguous. Reasons for learning a foreign language, benefits of learning a foreign language. They are not broken down. So let's see how we move on from there. The right time to initiate a foreign language to children is in the primary school and not a secondary school. Okay. Learning a second language can increase cognitive growth, improve social skills, and increase chances of being hired for a job. Okay. Now let's look at this. Your introduction is not complete. Introduction is not complete, Mr. John. Introduction is not complete. The right time to initiate a foreign language to children, and you cannot initiate a foreign language to a child. You can introduce foreign language to children, and you have to remove A. The right time to introduce foreign language to children is in primary school and not the secondary school. This essay, your thesis is missing. You should have, this essay will explain the reason for my stance in subsequently, in the subsequent paragraph or subsequently. Then leave a space in between introduction and body of the essay. Then in talking about the body of the essay, we are expecting that you are going to say, okay, let's go on. Learning a second language, foreign language can, which is good, no repetition, no overgeneralization, can increase cognitive growth. Cognitive growth is high level word and also collocation, improve social skills, standard words, collocation, and increase chances of being hired for a job. You hire for a job, collocation, being hired for a job. By gaining a foreign language during elementary school, you can't gain foreign language, you acquire foreign language. It would have been a perfect collocation if you use the word acquire. You acquire foreign language during elementary school, children can gain all of those benefits, which will help them prepare for college and the real world. So let's see, by acquiring or the acquisition of foreign language during elementary school is likely to give children all those benefits, which would help them prepare for college and real world. So that's another way to put it. So we have said gaining is not gaining, it's important. You can gain a benefit, which is good. The word gain there is good, but the first gaining is wrong. Children can gain. So we said can is also a word that bars overgeneralization in your work. Okay, gain all of those benefits. Those benefits, or better still, these benefits. I think I prefer these benefits. Okay, and it is referencing word, which is good. Which relative cluster, which could help them prepare for, has a tick, because it is collocation, college, and the real world collocation. It has many cognitive benefits and one crucial cognitive advantage. I think the word cognitive is coming too much now. So we already have it in the first one. The what's it called now? The synonym of that should be brought in. Synonym of that should have been brought in those two places where you have made use of them. Okay. Cognitive benefits, and one crucial cognitive is multitasking. So, which is good. The child, okay, learning a foreign language now. Again, learning a foreign language is becoming too many. Try as much as possible to stay away from repetition. Learning a foreign language at a young age also exposes the child to having the skills necessary to multitask. But you already said that here. It is seriously a repetition. Okay. Multitask and manage time. Okay. If I want to bring this in, I would say prepare for the college and the reward. It has many cognitive benefits, and one of which, then you will not even bring one of which. One crucial cognitive advantage is multitasking. Another one that comes closely knitted or closely related to multitasking is what do you call now? Time management, which leads to academic success on the long run, which means leads to academic success and later life success on the long run. So you would have just done that way, but you brought in quite a number of this. An academic is 1C here, 1C, just 1C. So please note that the chances of being hired for a job also increases because the world is now a global village, and the demand for those who are proficient in foreign languages, they can't just all of them cannot be proficient in a foreign language. So you could say proficient in foreign languages. It's necessary for you to realize that, because you said the chances of being hired for a job also increase because the world is now evolving, and demand for those who are proficient in a foreign language. So for those who are proficient in foreign languages has doubled. This is according to the New American Economic Report. So has doubled for those who has doubled according to the report in the according to the report as stated in the New American Economy. So we have just done it that way, and fine. The demand for bilingual speakers has doubled in the last 5 years since 2010. So in your work, there's a lot of repetition, and I'd like you to listen. According to Neil Roberts, children should start learning a foreign language that exists. So this particular essay did not bring in as many what do I call now? Flexibility of language. It was quite stereotypical. And I'd like you to look at that and work on it. You also did not what's it called now? Finish up your essay, just like Mr. Mikel. So please try to do something about that. Reasons why juvenile crimes have been on the increase, possible measures to curtail this sharp increase in crimes and criminality. Okay, I wouldn't really say that is an outline, because it didn't break it down. I'm expecting to give us two reasons. Now, if you don't do this, you outline very well. I'm saying that you will not be able to write your essay very well. And it is very, very obvious in the last one. You don't do your outline very well, your work will not have any form of cohesion or coherence. You find out that Mr. John's work here is going up and down, up the hill, down the mountain, up the hill, down the mountain, up the hill, down the mountain, and it is a function of poorly done outline. I've seen it before, and I know what it is. Whenever I see somebody tending to repeat, it's because he was having to think about his outline while he writes. You should have thought of your outline and bring your outline to this development. So I hope you understand, Mr. John. I hope he's still here. I hope you understand. So let's see. He's still here. Okay, Mr. John, do you understand? Okay. If you understand, please let me know. Okay, although I'm tempted to think that this essay of yours was probably the first one, but still we'll still talk about it. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Let's go through it. Okay, let's just skip this one. But here, let's read the first one. Lately, there has been a spike in the cases of juvenile crimes in the society. Spike is good. Okay, cases of juvenile crimes in the society. Then this should have continued after on the same line with society. Society full stop. These differ from country to country because of different cultural, economic, and social characteristics. The major economic factors that contribute to crime initiation are poverty, unemployment, and political situations. Do you know that some of the problem you seem to have with this is you have the points. The points are there. So why don't you take them one after the other? Rather than putting so many in one paragraph, and it becomes an issue for you to develop. You want to now start taking one after the other and begin to develop them. It becomes an issue. Why don't you take, let's say, economic poverty. Your outline would be reason one, poverty. And you want to talk about poverty being the reason why a lot of people want to steal and want to listen. Then you build the world around that. And the second point might be unemployment or political situation. And you build the world around that too. And then you sufficiently develop a point before you move on to the next one. So here we also have deteriorating family values and condition is another reason for high rates of teenage crimes. So if I were asked, I would say poverty, unemployment, political situation, and deteriorating family values are the four solid points that you have in this essay. But you can't sufficiently and totally sufficiently and effectively develop all four. Just stick to two. In this essay type, stick to two. All right. So please. So let's quickly read that. Family values and condition is another reason for high rates of teenage crimes. Family relationships are getting worse day by day, and minors are subject to parental fighting and domestic violence, which in turn give rise to juvenile violence. With lack of parental supervision, the moral and emotional condition of children and adolescents are deteriorated. As a society, we can do a lot more things to remedy this situation. There is need for more policies, programs, and commitment by all, so as to create a way of financial and mental stability without resulting in likely resulting in lesser number of individuals who have resorted to criminal crime, so criminal activity. So you find out that let's look at this. This is the first one. This is from this. Many reports suggest an increase in the involvement of minors in crime, and this problem has reached an alarming level. You find out that you're streamlining your points to one work better for you in your first paragraph, in your second paragraph than your second paragraph, and your second paragraph than your first paragraph. You're streamlining your point to one worked better in your second paragraph than in your first paragraph. So always streamline your point to one per paragraph, and that is if that is expected of you. Okay, so that is that. So we'll go to this one, and this is one of, I think, the one that you probably handled more. So we'll quickly go to this one. So now, on one hand, so here's now that the co-educational system is considered as the best option in many countries. Some believe that it is better that young females and males study separately, while others mention that studying together can be more beneficial. I will discuss both views, both sides, and give my opinion, which is good. I like this introduction. It's very good. Nowadays, the co-educational system is considered as the best option. Now, I'll take three things away from that: co-educational system, advanced level word, and collocation. considered as that's what's it called now? Passive voice. Best option is both collocation, and the word best is also indicating comparative and superlative form of comparison in many countries. Some believe that, so there goes your what's it called now? However, your first sentence has let out the cat of the bag. I've said your first sentence should be as neutral as possible. So maybe we should have said, nowadays, the system of education that needs to be deployed is so much has raised or generated so much of a controversy in many countries. You are not letting the cat out of the bag. You did not indicate where you are going, but you have actually brought in your what's it called now? Basics, your background. You have brought in your hook or punchline. All right. Then you now present the two factions. Some believe that it is better that, which is good, better that females and males study separately, while others mention that studying together can be more beneficial. I will discuss both sides and give my opinion. So let's go on. On one hand, those believing that education system should be a separate gender-based system. Education, you can just remove system. Education should be a separate gender-based system, because you can't repeat system in the same sentence. Have is just like repetition, clearly. They are not performing different functions, they are performing the same function, but in different places and different contexts. So you should just have been, once the first system should not be there. So it should be a separate gender-based system, have their own, okay, on one hand, those believe that the education system should be a separate, they have their own reasons. You should just go straight to the point. We know they have their reasons, that's what you want to say. So just go straight to the point. On the one hand, those believing that education system should be a separate based system think that this is the reason. Just think that this is, and then you just go straight to the point. We know they have their points, or they have their own belief, or they have their reasons, and that's the reason why you are writing. So just go straight to the point. There's no point bringing any preamble again. So one is that this method can be safer. Okay, every year, several sexual offenses are reported by the local or national. It's not by, reported in local or national news. Reported in. Every year, numerous sexual offenses are reported in the local or national news regarding the incidences. Your S here in incidents. The S is not needed. It's C. It's actually INCIDENCE. Incidences of rape or other inappropriate sexual behaviors, especially in countries permitting both genders to study in one school. All right. This is good because it's quite extensive, but then it has some errors that I quickly point out. Every year, numerous sexual offenses is collocation are reported in its collocation. The local or national news, comma will be removed regarding the incidences of rape or other inappropriate sexual behaviors, especially you still remove comma. The commas are just needless. So especially in countries permitting both genders to study in one school. So you have especially which works for you, regarding it's also working for you, especially in it's also working for you. So permitting both genders to study in one school. However, studying in single gender institutions can reduce the rate of these figures. As a prime example, I like the word prime example as a major example, as a very important example. However, studying in single gender institutions can reduce the rate of these occurrences. I prefer use of occurrences because you didn't give us any figure and you didn't give us There was no particular figure, and you can't say the rate of these figures. No, you can only say can reduce the rate of these occurrences. So let's adjust that. As a prime example, thousands of sexual assaults are reported in the United States, in the US schools. In US schools, you don't have to put D there. Reported, I don't want to use reported in again. So what can we use now? Are broadcasted in the broadcasted in the news in the United States annually. As well as the thousands of sexual rape assaults are reported in the news or broadcasted in the news in US schools annually. But had the government considered unisex education, these rates would have dramatically decreased. Rate again, we are not going to use rate. At the government, okay, where is it now? Okay, but had the government considered unisex education, this would have dramatically decreased. There's no need for rates. So let's see. Another reason is that this system may raise religious conflicts. Okay, so this is a discuss both views and give your opinion. Now, in this case, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Another reason is that this system may raise religious conflicts. In some countries, some opponents are not interested in sending their children to these types of schools, and this has become a serious bone of contention between different religious groups. For instance, French Islamic students prefer their children to study in a single-sex school, whereas the education admits both genders in one educational place. Now, I would have preferred that we just use one example per paragraph because it's going to be less cumbersome. So here, as a prime example, maybe while you're talking about this, you go via the research method. The research carried out in United States of America has reported that more sexual assaults and religious tension has been reported in schools where both genders are permitted to learn in the same class. So in that case, you have just killed the two essays. I mean, 2 points. You know, another reason is good, but moreover, this system may give rise to religious conflict. That's after decreased. Moreover, this system may give rise to religious conflict. In some countries, some opponents are not interested in sending their children to these types of schools, and this has become a serious bone of contention between different religious groups. Okay, then you say, according to research carried out in the United States of America, it reported that, which reported that 70% of religious, sexual assault recorded in school took place. Okay, so 7% of sexual assault and religious tension that took place in schools were reported in, or were reportedly to have happened or taken place in same-gender school. And that's it. With that, you are settled it. I hope you understand that. Rather than having to write two separate examples for this. Number one, your time is 10 times of lessons. And number two, it will bar every possibility of it being very, very cumbersome for you. So let's go on. On the other hand, I personally give a green light to those who you can at this point begin to give green lights, because here you are talking about the other hand. On the other hand, you have to play the devil's advocate for the two sides before you go ahead to talk about your preference. Mr. John, I hope you are getting me. You at this point, I'm expecting that you talk about the other side. On the other hand, you want to talk about why you think people who go for the co-educational system, why they would want to go for that. On the other hand, on the other hand, the co-educational system would bring about less cost of education, and then you go straight. So this is something I personally give a green light to those supporting co-education system. The first reason behind it is that this system definitely would be less costly. Clearly, I like the word clearly, but it should have continued after costly. This use of the space, if it is not a conclusion, use of the space remaining on every line. Clearly, to divide girls, I think you wrote girls and boys, but you are not dividing. Okay, to put or to enroll girls and boys, girls and boys, government is one entity, has to spend more money on education because they cannot use empty spaces of female school for the male. Okay, let me see what you have there. Okay, all right, so okay, or vice versa. I like the thoughts in your work though. I must say that I like the thoughts in your work. You brought in quite a number of points and thoughts into your work, but they just lack some structural clarity and approach. So as a result, less educational facilities should be provided for scholars, declining the total education budget. Furthermore, this method can improve students' communication skills. Obviously, having a better relationship with the opposite sex, juvenile will have to. Obviously, I like that one too. Furthermore, this method can improve students' communication skills. Obviously, having a better. So what are you doing here? Let me see. As a result, let's declining the total education budget, reducing, not decline. The word decline will not work there. It's reducing. Furthermore, this method can improve students' communication skills. Obviously, having a better relationship with because we are talking about not one person, but we are talking about multiple people and multiple personalities. So we're talking about having better relationship with opposite sex. People will have a closer relationship not only during their study, but during their matrimonial life. They generally have fewer marriage problems with their partner due to having a better experience before, due to the fact that they've had, you can't say having a better experience. Having is not now. Due to the fact that they have had better relationship experience before. In this way, Smoothford, a very familiar former psychologist, believe that human social skills are under FUN and DA fundamentally. FUNDA mentally developed as they have a closer feelings to their opposite sex in child. Now, it should have just been either that you bring in your conclusion, in conclusion, I give it, this is now, if you want to do first and paragraph structure, you say conclusion, I give a green light to those people. At this point, it's where you now state briefly your stance, or better still, you do your opinion in a separate paragraph to your conclusion. So, although in some countries, conclusion is not popular, I agree with it. So it should have just been. So in conclusion, I believe that although in some countries, for education, because I believe means your opinion, in conclusion, although personally in some countries, I believe the educational system is not popular. I agree with it. Not only is this measure effective, more government budget can be saved, but youth can have better relationship with the and I think it's and youth can have better relationship with local better. Hopefully, the global tendency will help propagate this method of net education in the near future. I don't understand global tendency, but hopefully should have been continuous from gender full stop. Don't leave a line, just like in church, they will say, if there's a space in front of you, please occupy it. If there are spaces before the paragraph ends, make sure you write on those spaces without you having to jump at any space. So I think you understand that. Let's please see how we go to another, what's it called? Again, please try as much as possible to scan your work very well. It will help us on the long run. Okay, so let me see. Okay, I've reviewed this one. Let's see this one. I've also reviewed this one. So let's see. Let's see. Are we still together? Less than 1 minute. Okay, less than 1 minute. So that's the end of our class today. But we'll come back and I'll give you final instruction. Please, we'll end our class today here, but we'll come back to give our final instruction. So please, let's get our final instruction before we call it a day.